So, joining us now, our great friend, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator Blackburn, what are you thinking now? This could be an important day on the infrastructure package, and then perhaps a few hours later, you all are going to have to deal with a devastatingly expensive and high-tax budget package as well. What are your thoughts right now?
Well, the infrastructure bill is not paid for. There is a $256 billion deficit in this, and that does not include the problems with contracting authority or the deficit that would be there in the out years. And also bear in mind there's $161 billion in new fees that are in this piece of legislation. So it is too expensive to afford. It is truly the gateway to socialism for the Democrats. It is the down payment on the Green New Deal. And they wanted to have something they said would be bipartisan. So I commend those that tried to work in a bipartisan manner. They did not deliver a product that Tennesseans want to see. Indeed, we've been hearing from our local and state elected officials. They're very concerned about mandates, federal overreach, losing some of their authority over projects and things. And they said, I've heard from so many people, they say, look, we wanted infrastructure, roads and bridges and highways and ports and rivers and railways and runways and broadband. But what we've got is a little bit of that and a whole lot of the Green New Deal.
Well, of course, you and Senator Hagerty, I mean, you're right, Tennesseans have stood tough against this.
That's right.
And President Trump has...
And, you know, Larry, I had 30 amendments, 30, that would have taken out some of these bad portions. But, you know, they're not interested. The Democrats aren't interested in improving the bill. I had one amendment that would have called for taking $1 billion from Amtrak's slush fund and using it to build the wall on the southern border. But see, they're not interested in addressing the needs. They want to get $1.2 trillion to go with the $1.9 trillion they've already spent, to go with Bernie's budget, which will be about $5 billion, as you said, and that is correct. And they're going to end up running up a tab of about $7 trillion by the time they get halfway through this first year with Joe Biden.
Yeah, I think $66 billion for Amtrak, which is going to be a very bad investment. And look, like you, I praise the bipartisan negotiators. They got a lot of good in the bill. The disappointment is they got a lot of bad in the bill. They had to accept a lot of green stuff, and as you point out, unnecessary stuff. Senator Blackburn, just one odd thought. They never got a return to the XL pipeline or a resumption of the Anwar drilling, which strikes me as important infrastructure measures that could have easily been put in that bill.
Well, and they got a study on the Keystone Pipeline to look at the impacts of that and to see if it costs jobs. So a study isn't worth the paper it's written on unless you do something with it. So I had an amendment, which they did not accept, that said if the study finds it cost us jobs, then the president has to rescind his executive order, and we have to restart the Keystone Pipeline project. To me, that makes sense. But there again, this is all about moving us to the Green New Deal and solar and wind. They don't even want nuclear. I've had some amendments on that, but what they want is total control of your life, government dependence, daylight to dark, 24/7, 7 days a week. They want you to be living the life of Julia, which you remember that is something Barack Obama put in place when he was president, had that little cartoon about Julia only needed the federal government for everything.
Julia wasn't as good as "You Broke My Heart," Fredo, but I accept Julia. Senator, let me pick up on a point you made. Quote, cost us jobs. You just referred to that, which I think is absolutely key.
Yeah.
I helped do some polling on all the tax increase measures. And when you ask people if the corporate tax hike or the capital gains tax hike or foreign tax hikes or the estate tax hikes, when you ask them if it costs jobs, do you approve or disapprove? Then by wide margins, they switch and they disapprove.
That's
and
right.
I have suggested to a number of your colleagues on this show and House members and friends of mine in conversation that on this reconciliation bill, which is just in many ways the transforming vehicle the Democrats are going to use, is so darn important. It's really important to cite studies from the University of Pennsylvania Wharton, from the National Association of Manufacturers, Rice University, from the Tax Foundation, that prices out this humongous reconciliation plan and shows significant job losses. That I think that should be an important part of the effort to defeat reconciliation.
Well, it should be, because you're talking about taking opportunity away from hardworking Americans. You're talking about taking money out of their pocket. If they are a small business that files on a 1040, or if they're a small business that has incorporated, you're talking about Main Street businesses who will have less money to invest in their business. You're talking about affecting the future of our children and our grandchildren. And I'm so grateful to Senator Haggerty for the filibuster that he executed, because it has given people time to say, hey, wait a minute, I thought this was an infrastructure bill. Hey, wait a minute. What are you talking about? Another $3.5 trillion in spending? Because people have really focused in on what is going on. They do not like this. They do not want this. They want better days for the United States. They want America first. They do not want America last. And they are missing the economic policies. I've had so many tell me, I'm not a Republican, but I miss the policies of President Donald Trump.
Yep. I get it. Thank you very much, Senator Marsha Blackburn. Thank you,
got
man.
it.
Hope to see you soon.